Hello, welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about this. The Smugglers by Brian Hayes. Directed by Julia Smith. However, no episodes survive in the BBC archives. So before I begin, I just want to state something about the actual images of this story, which now sadly don't exist. Well, most of it. There's no complete episodes in the BBC archives. But it's directed by Julia Smith, the second female Doctor Who director. Now, you might recognise her name if you're big into your TV. She is one of the creators of a little show you might know called EastEnders. Yeah, so that's a big deal. And also as well, she also helped with setting up BBC Wales, which is its own big channel. And it also helped fund the new series of Doctor Who. So if it wasn't for Julia Smith, we might have not even gotten the 2005 New Who series. So there you go, that's just something to note. And as well, we do have bits of footage. Now, this story is known for having a bit of violence in it. And when it was ported to America, the channel that aired it, ABC, they saw the episode and didn't like the violence in it. So what they did is they cut the violence out of their version. But for some reason they kept the footage of the violence and destroyed the actual story at hand. So funny enough, when they tried to get rid of the violence of this story, it's actually the bits that are surviving in the BBC archive, so that's pretty funny. And another thing to note as well, which, like it or hate it, is the BBC got really cheap with this one because they didn't decide to hire anyone for the instrumental music. They could have used stock music like they usually do at this present time, but no, they decided to use no music whatsoever. What a brilliant idea. So we got Julia Smith, who most of her footage isn't around. We got no music, so this story needs to highly rely on its story. Yeah, you can see where this is going anyway, my reaction. Brian Hayes, as you may have known in the Doctor Who series, he wrote The Celestial Toymaker before. And this is only pure historical. Well, I say it's a pure historical. It's set in the past, and it's to do with a treasure of a real-life pirate, but none of the actual characters ever existed in the story. So, there you go. But, and this is his last story he did before he started writing for the Ice Warriors, his big creation. Now, if you might remember with The Celestial Toymaker, I said the plot wasn't that strong, but I don't think it was trying to be. It had a lot of atmosphere and suspense, and it just had all these other elements. So I think what Brian Hayes tried to do is he kind of tried to feel like he needed to make up for not having a lot of plot in his previous story by making this story nothing but plot. And the thing with that is that Brian Hayes, in my opinion, isn't so good with plots. Or at least not in the first Doctor era. I haven't watched an Ice Warrior story in a while until we get there. We've only got these stories so far. It's also important to note that this is the first Doctor's last pure historical, and sadly it is a bit of a whimper. Like I said with the Savages, a lot of people didn't like that story and this story, and neither do I. But if you are a fan of these, if you do enjoy them, these stories, please let me know. I am fascinated when people have obscure opinions, when people disagree with what me and when I agree with the general public. I just love hearing about it. So please, if you like the story, The Smugglers, please let me know. But for right now, it's absolutely horrible. The story is that the Doctor, who's now travelling with Ben and Polly from the War Machines, land in, I think it's the 17th, 18th century, one of those two, where basically pirates exist. And they get taken into a castle and befriend a man, and this man basically tells them about his adventures with Captain Avery, a real-life pirate, and appears in the new series. And who would have known that when they were talking about Captain Avery, that they might have also had memories of the 11th Doctor and his mother-in-law and father-in-law in their adventures on the USS Fancy, I believe it is. But there you go. It's just a strange thing to note that this story is linked with a New Who story, The Curse of the Black Spot, which we will get into when we get there. But anyway, but he quickly dies because he gets in contact with one of the mates of Samuel Pike, Captain Samuel Pike. Yes, Doctor Who had a Captain Pike before Star Trek was even a thing, so hooray. I don't know if maybe it was the inspiration for Captain Pike, maybe? I think this might have actually been the same year as Star Trek came out, so that's interesting to note. Yeah, this came out in 1966, so it had been the same year as Star Trek, so that's pretty cool. Both famous science fiction shows had Captain Pikes in their series, but I digress. And then the Doctor kind of gets kidnapped, and it's up to Ben and Polly to try and work things out. Now, I will say this, Ben and Polly do make this story, they are generally good in this story. They don't really have like big story arcs, like they don't learn anything throughout the stories, but they do have a character reveals which are underestimated by a lot of people. A character reveal is when you like learn something about the character, in their personality wise, but not really, they don't really have to like learn or anything and stuff, which is not a bad thing. It's just a term. I mean, the Hulk from the Avengers and Paddington are two characters that are great with just character reveals. But I digress. With this, it's clear through the story that Polly is a believer. She quickly believes things that she's been told, like the Doctor time traveling, and Ben is a skeptic. So he really needs to have proof, and this story character trait does come out through in different stories, like we will see. And it takes him a while to get into the idea that they're in pirate times. So, and there's these great scenes where they're in prison and they work together to try and get out. And also, I just love Ben. He's just absolutely hilarious. The way he talks is so old-fashioned. Might be a bit risque at the moment. Like, he keeps calling Polly Duchess. And there's a bit where he asks her to put a kettle on, jokingly. Like, he doesn't actually expect her to make a drink because they're in pirate times, but yeah, something about him just cracks me up. And Polly as well, she's really sweet and innocent, which is a character trait that a lot of companions have, but the actress whose name I'm afraid is on the tip of my tongue. No, she does a fantastic job here at bringing her own stamp to the sweet and innocent companion story character. So there you go. That's one thing I can say I like about the Smugglers. Wow, this video has become really has become really bad. Oh, pessimistic. But anyway, so Captain Pike pretends to be like a tradesman to one of the heads up of this small village, and he plans then to take the gold for himself. And the doctor knows where it is because the guy who lives in the castle told the doctor a rhyme to where Captain Avery's gold is. So the plot is basically just revolved around that. But obviously we can't have the doctor just reveal where it is and just go looking for it, or have anybody just put him in a very threatening situation and get on with it. No, we gotta pad it out for 4 episodes. So yeah, it's just not that interesting. Later on in the story, when Ben tries to find the doctor, so he goes into underneath the castle, and he finds like a cavern, like an underground cavern, and then out of nowhere this door opens and some guy comes out, and then Ben basically held him prisoner as he believes that he might have been the guy that killed the guy that helped them earlier on. And this guy then Blake, I believe his name is, becomes a really big character, and the way he's just introduced, he just appears. But he's bland and boring. He's supposed to be like this nobleman doing everything for the name of the king, but he has hardly much of interest. There's no character to him. What else? There's this landlord character who doesn't like strangers, and then he keeps like changing between whether you can trust the doctor and the crew or not, as he doesn't like strangers, but then they knew who the guy in the castle was, so it's like, okay, a friend of his is a friend of mine, but then they find out he's dead, so it's like, okay, doctor, we don't trust you, you were the one who killed him, because you were the only one who was there that we know of. Then he finds out about Samuel Pike, and then he's like, okay, doctor, I can believe you that you didn't kill this guy. And then later on, he finds out that the doctor's friends are working with Blake, and then he's like, okay, I don't trust you anymore, doctor, because you brought Blake onto our village or something. I can't remember why he doesn't like him. And he says, okay, you because you saved my life, I'm going to spare you, but if we see again, I'm going to kill you. And yeah, there's nothing really emotionally driven about his character. It just sort of, his emotions just seem to be dependent on the plot. Which I mean, like every character is basically dependent on the plot, but it shouldn't be this obvious. Yeah, I'm kind of really struggling with this one. Let's talk about Captain Pike. Captain Pike is a pretty decent villain. He's not really cool. The first time you see him, he is like a proper pirate in the ship, and and the doctor kind of tricks him by making him get his guard away as he tries to make Captain Pike feel like he's a nobleman, a gentleman to boot. And so he plays with that. But then later on, he pretends to be a tradesman in it for that guy working in the village, the nobleman in the village, and most of the story then is just him pretending to be this person and not be a pirate. So the story mainly known for pirating has very little pirating in it. So fun. I just had a good thought. I'm just going to completely go off topic for a moment, but because there's no music in this story, somebody could put the soundtrack to Pirates of the Caribbean to this story. Somebody who does like fan edits, please do that. That sounds absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think mainly the problem might rely on the fact that we don't have the footage for it. I mean, like I said, we got no footage for it, and we got no music to go with it. So it highly relies on its dialogue and its plot, which aren't that strong. I mean, Ben and Polly are strong in their moments, but it's nothing that drives the plot forward. And like I said, without the music, it really needs those visuals. So maybe if they do ever find this, which I highly doubt, it was very unpopular when it was out. It had one of the lowest viewing figures in the series. I mean, since the Gunfighters, the viewing figures had gone really low, hitting at around about just over 3 million. For 1960s, that's really bad, especially when you consider you only had 3 channels and you have no internet. So, yeah, I highly doubt they'll find this. But if they do find it, I think it might be remembered a lot better because it would have those visuals. And you do got to put in your mind that these stories were written for television with those visuals, and it was supposed to be told in that medium. All stories can't be told straight to you. They got to go through a medium, whether it's a book, an audio drama, a theatre play, a movie, a TV show. So a story has got to really pull forward through its medium, and how it tells the story through a medium is how we should rate stories. And obviously we don't have anything here apart from the thickness of its plot, which is very little. Sorry, I just had to talk about story media theory there. just so I can talk about something. This video is probably going to be one of my funniest now because I'm just so fed up with this story. I tell you what I really liked about this story. Now that I'm doing this marathon, I never have to watch the story again. Hooray! Oh, when those credits rolled in part 4, I was so glad. But yeah, so the Doctor kind of tricks Captain Pike when because Blake has got an army out for Captain Pike's crew, and the Doctor doesn't want any bloodshed through because Captain Pike might slaughter the villagers. We never see anything like that. We only got it from word of mouth, and you can't really buy it. I mean, he seemed threatening, but not threatening enough that his entire crew would take down a village. But I digress. So the Doctor kind of plays for time and slowly starts telling them the riddle, and puts himself in a situation where Captain Pike will learn of the thing, but as slowly as possible. And then, so our story then ends with Captain Pike getting Captain Avery's jewels and gold. But when he goes out to the cavern, his men are being slaughtered by Blake's army, and then Blake shoots Captain Pike's dead, and he's dead. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really struggling with this. But anyway, that's how story ends. And it's just something about the story is just not working with pretty much everyone by the looks of it. Maybe it'll be better if we had the visuals, but Brian Hayes has really let himself down here. I just hope that Julie Smith could have actually done a good job. Like I said, every Doctor Who story has at least one thing worth watching for it. The way the show is set up in the classic series, with each story having a few episodes to it, really allows something, even if it's a small detail, to go a long way. And here, I think it might be missing without its visuals. I mean, we do have the Ben and Party stuff, but it's not too gripping for its story. It's just little moments, really. So that's the Smugglers. Crying shame. It's the first Doctor's last pure historical, the format he's known for. And he started the series really strong. Like I said, the Aztecs is one of my favourite stories. And to see it, the pure historicals go to this low is just really sad. So next time we're going to say goodbye. And good luck to William Hartnell. So join me next time for the 10th Planet, and we say hello to the Cyber Boys. Whoa! So there's something to look forward to. There you go. Have fun. See you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon.